Your homeschool feels hard not because of what you're using, but because of what you're expecting curriculum to do for you. A lot of us have these expectations of curriculum that are completely unrealistic. And I'm talking to myself here. I am preaching to me here. A lot of us expect curriculum to make our kids love school. And a lot of times we do this without even realizing it. We go through all of this curriculum research and we have these expectations when we're curriculum shopping that our kids are going to automatically love it. And why? Because we're excited about it and we want our kids to be excited about it. And we have these expectations that they're just going to love it because it looks like fun. We picked these books out so carefully and we picked it out with our kids in mind. And we know that this works for so many other families. But here is the big truth bomb about homeschool curriculum. And nobody really says this out loud because it's not what anybody really wants to hear, but here it goes. Kids don't have to love curriculum. I know, I said it. It's the truth though. They don't have to love the curriculum. Not all kids love school. I have a child who went through school who really just didn't like school. It wasn't just homeschool that he didn't like. I want to make that clear. He was also in public school and he didn't like public school either. To be fair, he liked homeschooling way more than public school, but it doesn't mean that he just loved homeschooling because he disliked public school either. Even in the best environment, not all kids are going to like homeschool. Not all kids are going to like any type of education. There are just some kids who don't like reading and they don't like the school atmosphere, especially when we're talking about boys, because boys are just so much more active. So as somebody who had one child in each camp, I have one kid who absolutely loves school, and I have one kid who was just like, yeah, I just kind of want to get it over with so I can go do what I want to do. I'm telling you this from experience. We sometimes expect curriculum to be really exciting, motivating, and engaging all the time, but learning doesn't always feel like that, especially to our kids. But I want to reassure you with this point. A child can be learning even when they're neutral about a curriculum. Which brings me to my second point here, that when expectations do the heavy lifting, homeschool tends to feel heavier. We expect curriculum to motivate our kids and to confirm that we're doing the right thing and that we're doing a good job and to make homeschool feel peaceful. And really what that is deep down is us wanting reassurance that we did the right thing by homeschooling our kids. And we're kind of putting all of that expectation on curriculum when that's the wrong place to be putting it. Curriculum starts carrying this weight that it was never meant to carry. And unfortunately, a lot of us do that without even realizing it. I have done that before. And then when a homeschool curriculum doesn't work out for me, it's really hard not to feel completely deflated. I understand how when a curriculum does not work out, somebody could feel just completely deflated and they're not sure what steps they need to take next or where to go or what to do. And it can be very disheartening for a lot of people when that curriculum just kind of falls flat. So here is my next point. Curriculum is a tool. It's not something that is supposed to be a personality match. We have to keep looking at curriculum as a tool for our homeschool. Curriculum isn't meant to make your child love learning. And in fact, a lot of times your kid isn't going to like learning, especially when they get to high school. All you elementary school moms, just know high school is coming, and a lot of times they really just don't like high school. High school is hard and it's longer and it's less engaging and it's less fun, and it's a totally different world if you haven't got to that point yet. And I think some of my fellow high school moms can probably sympathize with me a little bit on this. High school is not always fun. It's just not. I am in my 5th year of homeschool high school, and it is a different animal. Sometimes learning is just like this quietness, and it's just cooperation. And just because your kids aren't over the moon about something doesn't mean that they're not learning. They're learning. They really are. It's just, sometimes we don't know if they're learning if they're not really excited about it. Sometimes our kids can even be learning when they are resisting a curriculum, which sounds kind of weird, but it actually does happen. I really disliked high school as a public schooler, but you know what? I actually learned. I did. I was a AB type of student in high school. I was on the National Honor Society. I had a very high GPA. I detested the curriculum, but you know what? I still graduated. So if homeschool feels really hard right now, which sometimes it does, we all go through seasons where it's easier and sometimes it's much harder. It doesn't automatically mean that you chose the wrong curriculum. It may be that your expectations are on that curriculum to do a job that it was never meant to do. So calmly reassure yourself that it might not be the curriculum. So a lot of times what happens is we have these expectations on this curriculum, and then when expectations are not met, sometimes these are just fantasies in our head of what it should look like. We try to change the curriculum, and just understand that if you've never changed curriculum, it can be a very expensive and stressful thing to do when that might not have been the problem in the first place. So I am trying to save you some money here. You are not failing, and I want to make this very clear as I close this video. You are not failing if your kid does not like school. It's just a part of life. My kids have both gone through in and out of seasons where they liked school and where they didn't like school. You are not failing if your child is not excited about homeschooling. And I want to make that extremely clear, because a lot of us feel that way sometimes. And I think that that's totally normal. I think we have all felt that. So if you are, especially in the beginnings, and your child is not excited about homeschooling, that doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision to homeschool your kid. Think back, especially if you were a public schooler, how many times you were excited to go to school. So put yourself in your child's shoes and remember back to when you were schooling as well. Were you always excited every day to go to school? I think a lot of us, including myself, were not. And I ended up becoming a teacher, for crying out loud. It ended up being my profession for almost 10 years. I went to school for 4 years and then got my bachelor's in education, and then started teaching for another 8. And as a student, going to school was not my favorite thing. Homeschool can feel very ordinary, and in those ordinary days, your children are still learning. I can almost promise you that. They are still learning things in their books, even if they're not really excited about it. This is just real life education, day to day, just showing up with your kids and doing the best job you can as a homeschool educator. So I want to make that clear, because it is about that time where we start lagging in the homeschool year, and I think it's really important to state some of these things. So I hope that that is helpful for you as a homeschool mom, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I love y'all. Happy homeschooling.